Hey guys, welcome to the Fit for 90 podcast. I am your host, Cayman Bandel, footballer and strength and conditioning coach. Today is a little bit more personal. I'm not really going to be going on around like how to structure your gym workouts or what type of foods to eat or how to recover better. I want to tell you about two moments in the last 10 years of, or 12 years of playing football that's genuinely shaped the way that I train, the way that I coach, and the way that I think about football performance. Now, both of these times, I came on as a sub, and both times I got dragged back off. And it was brutal. I cannot stress enough like the impact that had at the time. But they taught me some very, very valuable lessons that a lot of players nowadays still don't quite understand. And that's the reason why I'm sharing these brutal lessons with you, is because the knock-on effect of that has shaped everything. And it's helped me get to a position where I'm in now, where I can help other players, coach other players at the non-league level to take their football performance to that next level. So let's start with the first time that it happened. I was 17 years old. I started playing football quite late. I started playing 11-a-side football around, there's about 17, 18, maybe a year earlier. I can't quite remember. It was a while ago, but I wasn't playing from a young age. I would play in the street. I play goals with my mates, but 11-a-side football, I wasn't really interested in it. To be fair, I probably wasn't good enough at the time. But I remember when I was about 17 years old, my dad was watching me. And I came off the bench late in the game. We were just playing. It was like Sunday league. I came off the bench. It was about 15, 20 minutes into the game, and I was terrible, like really bad. And it wasn't because like I didn't care about the game. It's not because I didn't try. It was because I was so unfit. I couldn't get around the pitch. Everything felt heavy. I was chasing shadows, to be honest with you. And 20 minutes into that game, I've come off the bench, remember. The manager dragged me back off. I've seen the sub warming up. I thought, no way is he coming on, because he plays my position. And the manager, the gaffer, subbed me back off. And as I walked off the pitch that day, I was almost in tears, to be honest with you. It was so embarrassing. There was a fair few people watching, I remember. But my dad was there watching. And he said something to me that day that stuck. He said, if you want to really excel at your football, if you want to play at a higher level, you have to be fit. This number one, you can't be thinking about your fitness when you're trying to play football. And it's something that a lot of players at the moment are doing. They're worried about saving their leg for maybe the last 30 minutes of the game. But when he said that, it really hit me because it was so embarrassing. He said it in front of my mates. He didn't take me to the side. He said it there and then as I walked off. He goes, if you want to play at a high level, if you want to be playing every single week, you have to be fit, and you're not fit enough at the moment. He was very, very brutal and honest with that. And looking back at it now, it was life-changing. It really hit me. But it was embarrassing as well because it was in front of my other teammates who were also listening. The gaffer was there. There was other parents there. But it made me change. Now, off the back of that, this is kind of where it got quite interesting. I went away and I went all in. Lost a shitload of weight. I got really lean. You could see, I've never seen my abs before. I had an 8-pack at the time when I was younger. I got super lean. I lost a lot of weight. See the abs staring back at me in the mirror. Physically, I looked incredible. I could run long distances. I was almost built like a distance runner, to be honest with you. Aesthetically, I looked very, very good. I looked fit. What I didn't realize at the time was that everything I'd done between the kind of ages up until about 22, I was training to look good, to be lean, to be fit by gym standards. I fixed how I looked, but I didn't fix how I performed. I didn't focus on that. Did it have an impact on my performance? Of course, yes, I could run a bit more. Of course, I wasn't blowing out my arse by the 30th minute like I used to be when I was a little bit heavier. So there was some benefits, but predominantly I just looked better and wasn't necessarily performing better. Now, this brings me to the second time. This was a real reality check. I was about 22, I think, at this time. It was my first game at Step 4. There was over 1,000 people that game. We were playing down by the coast in down near Brighton. It was a local derby, I remember. It was a big occasion, and there was a great turnout. Now, I'm on the bench this day. This is my first game in Step 4. The captain, who was playing midfield, he went down injured. It was a heavy tackle. It was a 50-50. I remember them going flying in, and like they both came out pretty bad, to be honest with you. Our captain came out worse. He was playing centre mid. The gaffer turned around, looked at me. He said to me, "Came and warm up." I was like, "Oh shit! Like I'm about to go on here." I wasn't expecting to. I thought I'm probably going to ride the bench today, and then I'll probably get a look in over the next couple of weeks. Suddenly, I'm going on, and within about 5 minutes, he'd come off. I was on the pitch. I'd done a quick warm up. The most embarrassing thing was that must have been about 25 minutes, I was sitting back on the bench. And it wasn't, again, because I didn't try. It wasn't because I didn't care. The game was going past me at 100 miles per hour. I'm a 22-year-old kid, still a kid at the time, looking back at it now, who'd got lean, who'd got gym fit. The football performance standards were way off. I wasn't football fit. The game was literally past me by 100 miles per hour. These guys were built like tanks. And I remember, like, I'm 31 now. This is almost 10 years ago. So the non-league game is very different then as well compared to now. These guys were hitting tackles a bit harder. It wasn't so much what you see now, like players trying to play out from the back. This was channel ball football, like win your first, win your seconds. Yes, you still do that nowadays as well, but it was hard. Like I felt like a kid amongst men, to be honest with you. When he dragged me off, I remember looking over on the sideline where the gaffer was, and some of the subs were warming up, and I thought it was the same thing again. I thought there's no way that he's gonna bring that midfielder on, because I know he plays holding mid like me. He just brought me on. And then I saw the ball go up, and when my number went up, number 16 I was wearing, I remember, it dragged me off, and I was like, fuck you know. I thought, Jesus Christ. That was embarrassing, and that hurt more because I thought I'd done the work. Between the ages of kind of 17, 18 to 22, I thought, yeah, I've done some good work here. It was the biggest eye-opener I've ever had. And I realized something really, really important was that you can be lean, you can look athletic, you can train hard, and you can still not be ready for football. Because football fitness is not built around how you look. It's about how you perform. And the aesthetics, how you look, is a byproduct of doing the right work to train for performance. By training repeated sprints, by being able to focus on your recovery, by getting stronger, eating and fueling properly, not eating like a toddler, which I probably did when I was trying to get lean. It allows you to compete physically later in the games. I wasn't undertrained. I was just training the wrong things. I was focusing purely on the aesthetics. And that moment genuinely changed everything for me. It made me realize that it wasn't just about doing more. It was about doing things better. It wasn't about suffering more, because I was really I used to get up at 3, 4 a.m. in the morning. I used to go for runs. I used to go to the gym. It wasn't about grinding and grafting. It was about doing things smartly and doing things better, training like an athlete, recovering properly, building your repeatability, your consistency, and then preparing for games, which is essentially where you express everything that you've done through the week and over the months. Is you express your fitness, your talent, what you've got within you. You express that on game day. But if you've not trained for that, it's never going to be expressed. And that was the mistake I was making. Nowadays, even more so, you have to be an athlete before you're a footballer. And if you're not training the right way, like I didn't, you get found out. If you get to a certain level, you get found out. You might get away with it at the lower levels, but as you start to progress and as you start to want to play higher, some of you listen to this might want to be getting paid to play. As you get to those levels, there's no hiding. I can guarantee it, because I've been there and done it myself, and got found out, but also flipped it on his head and managed to get myself back to that same level. But I was a starter. I was also a skipper at that level. I went away, I focused. It took a couple of years to change things, but because I already had I had a good base of strength, and I had a good base of fitness. I didn't have a good base of strength. I had to build that up. But when I went back, I was able to play that level quite comfortably. I was captain. I captained a fair few sides over the last 10 years at the Step 4 standard, Step 5 standard. It allowed me to do that because I trained the right way. Had I not done that, I probably would have just kind of fizzled out and fizzled away. But I went away, went back to the drawing board, thought, okay, that didn't work. What do I need to do now? But the reason why I'm so passionate about this now is because I see players every week making the same mistakes I did. They're chasing aesthetics. They're adding more work for the sake of adding more work. They're trying to graft harder. They're not preparing for football, especially the non-league lads that want to really go to that next level. The game's only getting faster. And if you're not preparing for the demands of the game and the trajectory that is going in at the moment, you're going to get left behind. It's really, really important that whoever's listening to this right now, change the mindset, change the lens you're looking through things, change the perspective on how you're training, on how you approach your gym work. A lot of you are probably like me, like I was back then when I was 17, 18, when I went into the gym, I said, I'm going to get fit. When I stepped into that gym, I was like, right, what do I do now? I was like, well, everyone else is doing chest and tries. Everyone else is doing back and buys. Everyone's doing legs, hammering their legs on 1 to 2 times per week. I'll just do that. Little did I know how detrimental that is for football performance. Great for aesthetics. I looked wicked, but performance-wise, it suffered massively. And you don't know what you don't know, right? So sometimes you have to look at things differently and question what you're doing. Yeah, you have to have some tough conversations with yourself sometimes. I had some seriously tough conversations over those years, especially that second time. I was like, what the fuck do I do now? Because I've got myself what I thought was fit and I'm still not at the level. Maybe I'm just not good enough. Fair enough. Take that on the chin. But I knew there was a better way to do things. And I went away and I did that. If you're listening to this and you're thinking, yeah, you know what? That sounds like me. Trust me, you are not alone. I've lived both ends of it. And there's a lot of lads out there right now that are in the same boat. They're unfit. They might look good, but then they're underprepared. The answer is not to do more. It's just about doing things a little bit smarter and doing things properly. Wasn't a long one today, but I just wanted to share this with you because I think it's so important for you guys to understand the reason why I do this and why I'm so passionate about it, but also that I've been through it and I get how difficult it can be. And there's the way the game is going right now, more is not better. You have to be smarter with how you do things. If you want help training like an athlete, if you want to be someone who doesn't just look fit but actually performs well, is what we focus on with our players. We're not just training harder for the sake of training harder. We're training better. I'll see you guys next time. Like, share, and subscribe this if you're enjoying the episodes. I'll see you guys next time.